Welcome back to Golf WRX's Winning What's in the Bag, where this week we're going to take a look at Collin Morikawa's winning bag from the 2026 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
One stroke to victory, and this is another long journey that's over at long last. Collin Morikawa is the winner at Pebble Beach.
Congratulations to him. That was a Sunday where had a bunch of people charging, some big names coming up the leaderboard, people playing well, and Collin, just at the end was clutch. Hit a great shot into 18 to kind of seal up the victory and a big win. So congratulations to him on that, and then also him and his wife hinted at they're expecting. So an amazing kind of life thing going on as well. So two big things going on for Collin. Congratulations to him on both. That's very, very cool. So with his bag, we're of course going to start at the top. He is a TaylorMade staffer, so everything in this bag is going to be TaylorMade. But we start at the top, and we're going to go with driver. And his driver is the new TaylorMade Qi4D LS. So this is the low spin model, but it'll be the lowest spinning, lowest launching kind of version in the Qi4D or Qi4D lineup. It is kind of probably has like the deepest face on it, a little bit more compact look from address, a little bit more traditional. You see a little bit more slope from heel to back on it when you look down at it from address, so very traditional there. And then it's got two movable weights on the sole that you can kind of dial in the kind of the spin and launch a little bit to go along with the hosel adjustment. So kind of a cool head if you're looking to control launch and spin. Now this one is an 8-degree head, and it is set actually plus 1.5. So you look at the hosel there, it is set almost to the highest setting, which depending on the adapter, it will be plus 2. I'm going to assume this is a 4-degree adapter, up 2, down 2. So it's going to be up 1.5 degrees. So it's going to really be kind of playing like 9.5. And it'll shut the face a little bit, which I think Collin kind of likes. He's played some of the max heads before. So I think he likes kind of having that slightly closed face at address. And that will do that when you change this hosel setting. Now the weights on the bottom of this, as I said, there's two movable weights, one in the front, one in the back. He's got the heavy weight forward. He's got a 15 gram forward, 7 gram in the rear. And what that's going to do is kind of reduce some spin. Moving that weight forward kind of pushes the CG forward a little bit. That's going to reduce some spin, maybe reduce launch as well. And it's going to make the driver kind of actually slightly feel a little bit different as you push that weight forward through the swing as it rotates through. But for the most part, probably doing it to lower a little bit of spin. And then the shaft on this is going to be a Mitsubishi Diamana WB63TX. So WB is, of course, the whiteboard profile, and this is, the latest generation of the Diamana series. So really smooth, great feel to them. I have a WB, I've got the BB as well, and just a really good feeling shaft. Low launch, low spin in the Diamana lineup, and comes in at 65 grams and 3 degrees of torque for the TX model. Now his is actually tipped 1 inch, and it playing at 45 and 1/8 inches long, and a D3 swing weight. All right, so the next club's bag is going to be 3-wood. And for 3-wood, he is playing the brand new TaylorMade Qi4D Tour. Yes, the Tour. We don't see a whole lot of Tour fairways, or at least we haven't in the past seen a lot of Tour fairways out on Tour. I think they were just kind of lower launching, lower spinning, and for some of those players, they just didn't need that. But for Collin, yeah, he's playing a 3-wood, which is 15 degrees, but the Tour is a little bit more compact when you look down on it, smaller kind of profile, deeper face, and it is super hot. It's got a titanium face and body, the carbon fiber crown, and it's just built for speed. It is typically a little bit lower spinning, a little bit lower launching than the stock model or standard model or core model, as some people call it. But the Tour looks really good from address, but it is a little bit lower launching. Now it's a 15-degree head. He's playing it, looks like 1 click lower from the upright setting. So on the adapter, there's the standard setting. You flip it all the way around, and there's no marking on it, but it's the upright setting. So it's standard loft, but more upright lie angle. It looks like he's playing that 1 click lower from there. So a little bit more upright, a little bit lower launching. Should be playing kind of down 0.75 degrees of loft, while still being a little bit more upright. And the weights on this one, there's 3 movable weights on the sole. So this one's got 2 10-gram weights pushed forward and a 5-gram weight in the back. And again, much like I said in driver, pushing that weight forward, probably going to reduce spin a little bit, maybe flatten out that launch just a touch. And then the shaft on this one is going to be a Mitsubishi Diamana D Plus Limited ADTX. Now, the D Plus Limited is an extremely popular shaft. You'll see it's still on play quite a bit out on the PGA Tour. But if you go to Mitsubishi's website, it looks like it's not there anymore. I think it's probably technically discontinued, but if you're on a tour, you pretty much get what you want, even if it's something that is no longer available at retail. But this one here is a great low launch, low spin shaft, really smooth. It's got kind of a medium handle stiffness, medium plus kind of midsection stiffness, and a medium stiffness tip. but it's still low launch, low spin, feels really good. 87 grams, 2.6 degrees of torque. Now the shaft in this one for his 3-wood is tipped 1.5 inches, and he's playing it at 42 7/8 inches long with, again, same D3 swing weight. Then we move on to his next wood in his bag, and it's a 5-wood, and it is a matching TaylorMade Qi4D Tour. So again, Tour in the 3-wood, Tour in the 5-wood, and the 5-wood is at stock 18 degrees, and he's playing this in the standard setting on the hosel. So 18 degrees, again, really kind of a more compact look. I've got actually the 7-wood in the Qi4D Tour, and I think it is phenomenal. It's just got that added little bit extra speed, and it comes out a little bit flatter. It's just a really, really great fairway wood. But he's playing this one stock in terms of the hosel settings, and then for the weights, this one he goes a little bit different. He's got 2 5-gram weights up in the front, and a 15-gram weight in the rear. So maybe this one he's trying to really hoist it up in the air, let it land soft. I know we saw a few shots that are probably 5-wood from like 220, 229 that he hit, hit it green, and you would have thought he was hitting an iron because it just landed and checked up that fast. And the shaft in this one is the same as his 3-wood. It's a Mitsubishi Diamana D Plus Limited, ADTX. So again, low launch, low spin, 87 grams, 2.6 degrees of torque, and just a great shaft that, again, you'll see in a lot of fairway woods on tour throughout the year. But just looks like we don't maybe have access to them anymore, unless somebody's sitting on some stock. I don't know if Mitsubishi's selling them anymore, but again, a great shaft. And some people will mix kind of a high launch fairway with a lower launching, lower spinning shaft, just to kind of control that spin at the speeds they're bringing the club into. You're going to see definitely a lot more spin coming off the face, off the ball with that added loft. So those lower spin, lower launching shafts tend to work out fairly well in the high lofted fairways. Now, the next club in the bag, we get into kind of his irons. It's a really cool mix setup, but the first one is going to be his 4-iron, and it's actually a utility iron. It is the TaylorMade PDHY, which is a hollow body utility iron. It's a 4-iron version, which it's interesting. TaylorMade lists it at 23 degrees. On their website, the retail one is 22 degrees. If you see the photo, it says 23. So must be like a tour issue head that's a degree weak, that they're not just bending, that it's just made that way. Or maybe it's a prototype that before that thing came out, maybe they were messing around with different lofts and his is a 23, but you can see clearly in the photo, 23 degrees. If you go on their website, look at all the specs, they call it 22. So interesting there on the loft, but it's either 22 or 23 degrees there. Now the DHY, they make 2 models. There's a DHI and a DHY. The Y version, which Collin's playing, is basically has a little shallower face, a little longer blade length, built a little bit to play a little bit more like a hybrid. It's going to be higher launching, a little bit more spin compared to the DHI. It's also got just an overall slightly bigger profile, slightly more offset to it. It's kind of a mid-high launch and mid-spin kind of club. And again, hollow body, fast face on it that builds in, that adds ball speed across the whole face. The shaft on this one is going to be the True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe X100, which is going to match up with the rest of these shafts in his bag for his irons. So the next set of irons in there is going to be the 5 and 6 iron. And the 5 and 6 iron are going to be the TaylorMade P7CB, which has been an extremely popular iron lately out on tour. I know Rory just got out of his, but Collin's got these 2 in the bag, so it's 5 and 6. And basically it's a forged cavity back. It's got a bunch more perimeter weighting, and they've got some mass a little bit lower in the head compared to an MB. Slightly larger than the MBs as well, but still very little offset, good top line to them, a little bit more rounded shape. Forged from 1025 carbon steel, and it's got kind of a nice cambered sole to it that I think offers great turf interaction. These tend to be a little bit playable. If you don't hit it absolutely flush and perfect, you can still get away with a pretty good shot, and they feel really, really soft. So great forged cavities there, and these also are shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Shoe X100. So 130 grams, kind of mid-low launch, mid-low spin. It's kind of like turned into a thing I just say on every What's in the Bag video, because we're just talking about Tour Shoe X100s. But they are really good shafts. They've been around for a long time. A ton of guys have been playing them since they were kids, and they just keep playing them because they perform really well, and the feel is exactly what they expect. So then the rest of his irons, 7 through pitching wedge, are going to be the older TaylorMade P730s. Now, the P730s are kind of what they had some prototypes out back in the day. I think there was a DJ Proto or Roars Proto. There might have been a Justin Rose Proto back when the 730s were out. The 730s were their Forge MB back then, and they were a much smaller, compact blade, had kind of a sharper, edgier look to them. They weren't as rounded as, say, the P7CBs are. That channel in the back allowed them to kind of move the CG around a little bit in the irons. But again, forged from 1025 carbon steel and just a classic blade. I think it was a very difficult blade to hit. I didn't think it was extremely forgiving, but Rory won the Masters with a modified version, so you can't really complain about that. But a very solid set of blades, and if you have the skill, they feel great, they look great, and they perform really well. So still playing the P730s over, say P7TWs or the P7MB that have come out since these have been out. Shafts in these are also going to be True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue X100s. And the cool thing about the Tour Issue X100s, they're the exact same as the X100s you would buy normal, retail, whatever. They just weight store them to an extremely tight tolerance. I think it's plus or minus 0.5 grams. So every shaft is going to weigh almost identical in terms of the weight, which is just adds to consistency there. Then we get into wedges, and he is playing the new TaylorMade MG5s, the milled grind 5s, the latest version of the milled grind wedges, and I think probably the best ones yet. They are forged as well out of carbon steel, so they're extremely soft. They've got a nice shape to them. They're a little bit boxier out in the toe section, but overall a really classic look. And they're not as tiny as some other wedges in terms of their look. They look a touch larger, but really, really good look. Great feel to them. They're really soft. And of course, the raw face with a new groove spin really, really well. Now, the first wedge in his bag is the 5009 SB. So this is the standard bounce model. It's the only model they make in the 50 degrees, the 9-degree bounce. And it's got kind of a 4-way camber sole, meaning it's got some roundness to it in multiple directions. And this is just going to give good turf interaction for full shots or shots that you're playing the club square to the target. The next one in there is going to be the 5608 LB, which is the low bounce version. So the LB, 8 degrees of bounce. It's got kind of a pre-worn leading edge, a good amount of trailing edge, toe and heel relief. It kind of reminds me of the previous version TW wedges. The TW wedge kind of had what looked like kind of a similar setup in terms of the pre-worn leading edge and that relief in the back. It looks like they kind of mimicked that a little bit in the LB. I believe the TW had a little bit more bounce. I think it was like 12 degrees on there. But 8 degrees of bounce, that pre-worn leading edge is going to do two things. One, going to help with turf interaction, going to stop that club from digging as much, and it's also going to help get the leading edge down a little bit so you can kind of get under the ball, make good contact on really tight lies. But a really versatile wedge allows you to open the face, hit a bunch of different shots around the green. And then for his 60, he messes with a couple 60s in his bag, but playing the 60 TW wedge this week. So the Tiger Woods wedge. This is a TaylorMade makes a 56 to 60 that are grind specifically that Tiger Woods worked on and requested. And the 60 this year, I think they did change it up just a touch. It's still got a pre-worn leading edge on it, but I think they blend it a little bit better into the sole. Before it was like it stood out. You could really see it. This one there, I feel like it blends a little bit better, maybe to go through the turf a little bit faster. But then it's also got a little bit more camber, a little bit more roundness to the sole. So that trailing edge relief isn't as edgy as you see in the 56. It's a little more blended in. And again, I would assume that they're doing that for quicker turf interaction. It'll get into the turf and probably release a little bit faster with those smoother lines on the sole. But really versatile, 11 degrees of bounce, a little bit higher bounce for a lob wedge, but still very versatile, played around the greens in a variety of different ways. And now all three of these are shafted up with True Temper Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400s. So a little bit heavier at 132 grams, about 2 grams heavier than the X100s, but they're stiff flex, so they play a little bit softer. So on those partial shots, those non-full shots, you're going to get a little bit more feel out of the S400 compared to the X100, while still getting kind of that mid-low launch and mid-low spin. Then we move into putter, and the putter is an interesting one because the putter is something that he borrowed, we'll call it quote-unquote borrowed, from Kurt Kitayama's brother. It was Kurt's Spider Tour X that he had. He borrowed it to try it, and I don't think it's getting back to Kurt anytime soon. But it is a Spider Tour X, and it is an X9, or what they call a flow neck, which at the moment, I don't believe is available to us at retail, at least in the version he has. His flow neck looks a little larger, has a little bit more push, a little more offset. It's kind of got, looks like it has 3/4 shaft offset to it when you look, kind of down from a dress. Now, the big thing on it, when you look down on the top, it's got the true path alignment, the big white line, and kind of a reverse T as the alignment mark, which is kind of interesting. I've seen some comments in the Golf Direct forums where people are like, isn't that T usually flipped around where the top of the T, the bar kind of goes parallel with the face? Right next to it, and then the line goes behind it, but his is opposite, so the T runs behind. but it still must be a way that that Collin likes lining up the ball with. But has that there. The insert is, of course, going to be the pure roll insert. It looks to be Cerulean. It's hard to say exactly because I know they do make some slightly different inserts, but it looks to be the Cerulean one, which is a little bit softer, made of kind of a golf ball cover material on there. And on this one, he is basically playing it at a 2.5 degrees of loft, a 70-degree lie angle, and a D6.5 swing weight. So a little heavier there. And then the grip on this one is going to be the Golf Pride Tour Tradition, which is kind of a smaller traditional grip. Kind of has a smaller flat top on it where the thumbs can sit, but it's not oversized, anything like that. Kind of a traditional all rubber grip. And it comes in at 58 grams. And it looks like the shaft on this one is just the gloss black steel KBS CT Tour that they kind of make stock in all the retail putters, which is a great shaft as a stock shaft, a little bit stiffer, a little bit heavier shaft there. Now, the rest of the grips on his clubs are Golf Pride Z-Grip cords. These are 58 rounds, and they are probably the firmest rubber and the heaviest cord in the Golf Pride lineup. So really rough, kind of really tacky, great for wet weather or people who sweat a lot. Any type of moisture management it is a great grip for, as well as offering great responsiveness and feedback because it is a firmer rubber. And then for ball, he is playing the TaylorMade TP5X. So TP5X is a 5-piece ball. It is going to be kind of the mid-flight, lower spin ball in the TP5 lineup, or at least compared to the TP5. It's also got a little bit firmer feel, but great ball speed on it, along with still greenside control. So that is Collin Morikawa's winning bag from the 2026 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Congratulations to him again on a great win out there in some kind of windy conditions, but exciting to see him get into the winner's circle also. So anyways, check back next week and we'll jump into the next winners. What's in the bag?